Okay, greetings, leadership class. This is Cooper. He's my mentor through the Honors College, and so today we're interviewing Cooper. Yay! Okay, starting off easy, what is your favorite thing about USM, Cooper?
I would say my favorite thing about USM is the community we have on campus. I think it's really strong. I think we, especially on game days and like other events at USM, we all seem to really come together as one, as a community, and I think that's a really good trait we have for USM. Just that community vibe, and I feel like not a lot of other universities may have that because it may be like a little bit more of a bigger campus, but I feel like USM being more like medium size, not too small but not too big, really builds that community across campus, and I think that's a really important and my favorite thing about USM. So
I love that. Yeah, that's cool. And so, are you involved in any way on campus?
Yes, I am involved in a lot of things on campus.
Do tell. We're curious.
So the one that takes up the most time for me is probably the Pride of Mississippi. That'd probably be my number one thing. Honors College also takes up a lot of time. Honors College Leadership Council, where I'm a mentor.
Hey, yay, go Cooper, go Colloquium.
And I'm in the Lambda Sigma Honor Society here. And then just recently, I applied to be an Eagle Connection tour guide. So I'm officially, or not officially, but I had to take a course first, but I will be a tour guide
awesome.
in the next year.
That's so cool.
And I think that's about everything.
That's cool, very cool.
Sorry
Mr.
if I
Alden.
forgot somebody.
No, you're
but...
good. Mr. Alden does Eagle Connection too. What would you say your greatest achievement is as a leader, Cooper?
I would say my greatest achievement as a leader is probably not at USM, but I probably think is in high school, because I think I'm still growing into my own in USM, and so I'd have to pick an achievement from high school, and I would say probably being band president for the band at my high school, Hornville High School. I really take a lot of pride in the music and the marching band and everything that went on there while I was there, and I think you have to be a really good leader in order to lead an organization like a band that has like almost like hundreds of people from different walks of life, you know. And I would say being band president and just that whole year as a whole was really important to me, and I think that would probably be my greatest achievement as a leader. So.
I love it. Okay, cool. And what's the most important quality in a leader to you?
I think one of the most important qualities in a leader is probably accountability. I think accountability is very important because there's a difference in leadership when you make a wrong mistake, but you just ignore it and let it go past. But I think the great leaders, when they make a mistake, they're able to be vulnerable and be accountable for those mistakes. And I think that's probably one of there's a lot of qualities about being a good leader, but I think if you're accountable, that'll get you a long way, because it'll make you comfortable with your colleagues, because you'll be showing vulnerability and being accountable for the mistakes. You don't always want to make mistakes, but when you do make mistakes, it's important to acknowledge them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think accountability is very important.
Do you think you're good with accountability?
I try to be very accountable, and I think a lot of us, it's our human instinct to like nod it off or like put it off and be like, oh, it wasn't all my fault, you know, like that kind of thing.
I do that.
But, and so I think it's one of those things where it's like you might not see it in yourself, but you try. I think we all try to be as accountable as we all can, as leaders especially, because if you're not accountable as a leader, then what kind of example does that set for the people that you are leading?
Yeah.
You know, and so I like to think I'm pretty accountable, but as I say, I also acknowledge that I'm not perfect. So
Real, go Cooper. What is your biggest weakness as a leader, Cooper? What do you think?
I'd say probably my biggest weakness is probably sometimes my social skills are not the highest they can be. I'm kind of an introvert, but some people may say I'm an extrovert. It just depends on, usually like with newer people, I'm a little bit of an introvert at times, and so I don't know if this is in the question, but I think one of the ways to address those, if I can say that, I think one of the ways to address that issue is probably just practice over time, putting yourself in situations where you can like strengthen that weakness and make it a strength. Like, as I said, I'm an honors mentor, you know, that comes with a lot of sociability and like building a community amongst students. So I think don't be afraid of those weaknesses. Like, put yourself in those situations and do more practice, because ultimately that's what's going to make that weakness a strength. So
That's awesome sauce. You should take a personality test to see if you're an introvert or an extrovert.
yeah, I don't know.
How do you deal with conflict on a team, Cooper?
I think one of the most basic answers would probably be just like talk to both people that are having that conflict, and I think that's probably where I would start, because I like to start basic. But obviously, not one person or the other might not be happy with the situation, and I think you can talk to them individually, but I also think it's important to bring them together and talk about their issues and just hash it out, because I think a lot of people, when they have conflicts on a team, they like to hold it to themselves and hold grudges, like when it's behind closed doors, when it's not in front of that person. So I think one of the things that I would probably do, the most important thing would probably be bring them together, and don't just put them in the honestly, putting them in the same room by themselves might be not too bad of an idea, but I would want to be in there just to make sure nothing like aggressive happens. But so I don't know, just getting them in the same room is probably the best way, because they can just hash it out, whether I'm in there or not, you know.
Yeah, no. Right.
Was that a good answer? I don't know. I don't want any fights
thing
going
was
on.
crazy. I'm so sorry. Okay. Would you say you're open to constructive criticism?
Oh yeah, for sure. As I said, I like to think I am. I don't know if people. I like to think I am. What is it? Open to constructive criticism? Yeah, I think. What's the opposite of constructive criticism? Destructive. So I don't.
What if I was like, Cooper, you're a terrible interviewer? How do you react?
I'd probably say, yeah, probably right.
Oh, right.
But
That's not true. You're great.
Oh, thanks. But yeah,
You think you have a like positive reaction though? Like, do you ever get discouraged?
maybe I won't get discouraged to your face.
Oh, okay.
But I'll get discouraged like when I walk back to my dorm, because I'll be like, Annie just told me I'm a bad interviewee.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Okay, I think that's normal.
But yeah, I'm open to it. Like, constructive criticism is always very helpful when you're a leader, especially.
I know some people don't like it though, because then they'll be like, "Oh, well, you are bad at this," you know, and it's like a turn it around type situation.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. Okay, and finally, Cooper, how do you set priorities as a leader? Like, how do you deal with your time management since you're in so much stuff?
Well, I think it's a basic answer again, but a calendar is really important, and like a planner. I use a combination of the calendar app and reminders app in my phone. Like, I set a reminder today at 12:30 that I had an Anna Vickery interview.
Yes.
And so I said Anna Vickery interview for 1:15, and so I made sure I did not forget that, because finals is kind of crazy. But yeah, I think just setting reminders and like making little events in your calendar and like setting reminders like one day before or 30 minutes before or something like that is very important. So
that's a good idea.
because it's easy to get caught in the shuffle when you're like not, I mean, maybe not as a leader in one organization, but it can be really time constraining, but especially if you're like a leader in multiple organizations, that can really get mixed up in the shuffle. So I think calendar and reminders, that's my go-to on my phone.
You would not be happy to hear that my calendar is still in August.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
it's a rough day. It's okay. It's been a long month, am I right?
Oh yeah, it has for sure.
But yeah, so thank you so much, Cooper. That's all the questions I have for you.
Bye.
Cooper and I in the fresh.
I hope that
Bye.
offered a lot of information.
Yes, lots of info.